Speaking of deserves to be seen, our second feature is an IFC Films and Shudder combo. It's called Rebirth. It is directed and I believe also written by Laura Moss. I'll check it to see if it's written by Laura Moss as well. It stars.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Eric.
written by Laura Moss and Brendan J. O'Brien.
Thank you, Eric. So, and it stars Marin, Ireland, and Judy Reyes. First of all, they're both wonderful actors. Love their work. And Rebirth centers on a woman named Rose. She's a pathologist at a hospital. She's a pathologist who's antisocial, socially awkward, or maybe not. Maybe she's just very candid and gets straight to the point. She's not she's not the most social person in the world, but she's very focused on her job. Thing is, she has a very big obsession, and this is not a spoiler because I'm reading from the plot line. She has an obsession with the quote reanimation of the dead. And that opportunity for the reanimation of dead comes forth when a young girl, 6-year-old girl named Lila dies. And that's played by AJ Lister. AJ Lister plays Lila. She dies from, I believe, bacterial meningitis. What happens is Rose takes Lila into her domicile, into her apartment to bring her back to life. And she's going to try her best. Problem is there's a wrench in the proceedings, and that is Lila's mother, played by Judy Reyes. Judy plays Sally, and Sally is a nurse at the hospital, by the way, that Rose works in. So Sally is initially PO'd regarding people are telling her that they can't find Lila. Her corpse can't be found in the hospital. So she's looking around. Eventually, she finds out that Rose has her daughter. That's all. It is all in the trailer, and the rest of the movie deals with how they are trying to bring that daughter, Sally's daughter, back to life. That is Rebirth. A lot of the movie is set within the apartment of Rose, and Bruce was talking about the visual schematic of what was of Deadshot. This movie is really, a lot of it is very set in not pitch blackness, but it feels like it has like a really interesting color scheme where everything is stamped down, not too sunny. This movie isn't too sunny, and it's a very interesting score as well. It's a very interesting film, Rebirth. It looks like a horror thriller, but it doesn't really become a horror thriller type of movie. I don't know if you guys agree on this. Now let's start with Bruce. Oh wait, you look like you have some thoughts, but anyways, I'll get to you, Eric. Bruce, your thoughts on Rebirth? I thought it was a very interesting film, great performances. Is that enough to actually keep this above water?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty interesting movie as well. I did not see the trailer, so I didn't know where it was going. And before we kind of had the discovery of what was going on with, you talk about the reanimation, and I guess you say it's some version of sort of a Frankenstein kind of idea here, some version of that, I guess. Before I knew that was happening, I had a different idea what was happening, and it seemed like a little more maybe like a serial killer. I wasn't sure what was going on. Either way, I was intrigued by it, but I had to kind of recalibrate my brain. So I guess knowing that going in probably does help a little bit with people's expectations. A couple things that really struck me that I thought were pretty great. First of all, I don't think there's any CGI in this, and there's some very, very good effects. And the effects aren't really over the top. They're more like medical effects, I guess, like surgical kind of effects. And they're very, very well done. And also the kind of thing you get in this kind of movie is you have to have the science, right? I have to have the science of what are they doing? How are they reanimating things? And sure, it's a little bit hazy on how it exactly works, but it all's very grounded. Like it doesn't have giant flashing lightning bolts or anything. It's done in a way that kind of makes sense and is actually, I don't know if it's say disturbing, but it's a little bit disgusting and interesting and unnerving, I guess I would say. The thing I was really struck by though was the character of Rose and how she's played. It's as the pathologist and as the person who's doing these experiments, and we kind of find the depths of which she'll go for these experiments and what she'll do to make these things happen. They really capture kind of that almost like a sociopath person that has found a role in life that is acceptable for their sociopathy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she is the kind of person, and there's a great scene early on where, and we won't say why this happens exactly, but there's a scene early on where the guy's hitting her on her in a bar, and she's like, whatever. She's very stern, very not a smiley kind of person. And she just looks at him and she's like, brushing him off. And then she says, And then she turns to him and says, would you like me to go masturbate you in the bathroom? And he's like, okay. And then the way she does it and the way it
Don't mind if
happens
I do.
is so mechanical, and to the point that it ends with her giving him an unknown blood test and he doesn't know what's going to happen. That's kind of her methodology throughout this movie. She's just like, I need to get from point A to point B. Okay. Is that an ethical thing? I don't care. I need to get to point B. And when she gets to point B, she kind of looks at it and goes like, how are we going to do this? So how is this working out? Oh, this is a human being? I don't care if it's a human being. How is this working? Is this working okay? So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And then you combine that with the unending love of a mother who just wants to keep her daughter. It's a pretty great dynamic for a simple movie like this. So
Yeah, and it's a mother who's a nurse. She's overworked. She's busy.
Yeah.
And there are times, and she just feels guilt and neglect over her daughter's death because,
Yep.
yeah, it's one of it's a very interesting interplay to see these women work together to try to keep this reanimated corpse alive, or this being alive, or whatever it turns out to be, and then you see their arc throughout the journey of that story. Very interesting stuff. Eric Holmes, what do you think?
So last week we covered Aporia, about time traveler, woman wanting to go back in time and save her husband, and then all the problems that come with that. This has a lot of similar themes to it. It's hey, cool, we can prevent death. Isn't that great? And it's like, well, but what do you have to do to make that happen? And then therein lies the conflict. This was also really good. Love Judy Reyes and Martin Island.
Marin Island, yeah.
Yeah, I got I can't remember her name. I got vibes from, got in trouble for being nominated for an Oscar.
Riseborough.
Riseborough. Yeah, I got Andrea Rise, like heavy Andrea Riseborough vibes from her. I didn't see her as a sociopath though. I saw her as someone that's been working on this thing for so long, and she knows it's important, but then she can't just do it. She has to balance it with her job. I think in her job, she doesn't get much sleep anyway. And so her downtime when she should be sleeping, she's working on this thing. And I just think she's worn out. And then when all the stuff in the movie happens, once Judy Reyes comes into the picture, she just gets even more tired and more angry at everything, just because, you know, she's just wore out. But I do love the theme of death is part of life. And sometimes as hard as it is, you just got to let it go. Because if you're given this magic potion to bring something back to life, there's always a trade-off for it. And both in this and Aporia, you know, the characters, their love for their fallen ones, or in Rose's case, just wanting to prevent death in general. Yeah, it's not the way to go. Sometimes you just got to let nature take its course and do the thing. And as much as it sucks to say, as much as it hurts, that's probably the way to go. And plus, who wants to live forever? Because you're going to experience the heat death of the universe, and then it gets really boring after that. No one wants that.
Yeah, I was also really, I don't know what the budget was for this, but it's shot in enclosed spaces, right? And it's still very interestingly shot. Didn't really. I felt like the world was open, even though a lot of it was claustrophobic. So there was a lot of things to explore. I thought, as a feature directing debut for Laura Moss, I thought that just high marks all around. We're not going to talk about the ending, but I thought the ending was very moving and very surprising. I don't know. I was surprised by the ending, and I really liked where the characters went. So it's memorable stuff all around. Final thoughts before we get to ratings, Bruce or Eric? Any final kind of thingamabobs?
I will 1,000% agree with you on the ending, and especially the last shot. Also, before the stuff that happens before that, like the characters in this just go in a complete downward spiral, especially Sully's character, Judy Reyes' character, like just kind of, okay, we'll do this thing, seems timeless enough. And as they do more and more, she starts moving her morals to the side to save her daughter. And it's, yeah, that ending was really hard to watch. And then her performance of, well, I'm saying too much, but ending's really good.
Ending's really good.
Really, really good.
We also have to mention sorry, Eric, about that. We also have to mention on the plot synopsis, it is a reimagination of Mary Shelley's classic horror novel, Frankenstein, which I'm sure you're a fan of.
Yeah,
Eric Holmes.
Yeah, I didn't see that as like a remake, but just kind of a reanimation. Yeah, like it's very, very loose.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
also
like elements.
The speaking of that, Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
Yes.
This would make a great double feature with this because they're wildly different movies, but they all deal with kind of the same. So triple feature, Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, Birth, Rebirth, and Aporia. Just do a triple feature and you get like the whole cross section of that whole moral tale. Of
it might be a little heavy though. You might want to just
put Angry Black Girl and Her Monster in the middle. So start with Birth, Rebirth, Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, kind of bring you down again. Then watch Aporia and then finish it off with Batman and Robin to just completely get your mind out of all of that.
Gremlins or something.
There you go.
Well, very cool. So let's get to ratings for this wonderful movie, Birth, Rebirth. So let's start off with you, Bruce Perkion.
I'm going to go 4.5 on this one. It's very, very good though. Very good.
Yeah, I agree with Bruce Perky. I'm giving it 4.5 stars for Birth, Rebirth. Eric Holmes, can I guess your rating? Can I guess your rating right now?
Sure.
5 stars from Eric Holmes.
Yeah, it's banger season, baby.
Banger season from Eric Holmes. Actually, Eric Holmes, when he said it's banger season in a month and a half ago, I was a little bit, I don't think so, Eric. I think you're wrong on that, but
maybe it's just a banger year.
Maybe it's just a banger year. There's some really great stuff.
T-shirts coming soon on finderfilmpodcast.com. It's banger season.
I love that. That's a great idea. It's banger season. Finderfilmpodcast.com. Check us out for our merch.